The two Elijahs. John the Baptist and Donald Trump. Revealed through the Jewish calendar, years past and present. As you can see, we have placed a timeline across the presentation slide. This is showing the 7 days of creation from the Bible. We then place 1,000 years per day, giving us 7,000 years. God said a day is as 1,000 years and 1,000 years as a day. Peter 3.8 in the King James Version of the Bible confirms this.
But beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing, that one day is with the Lord as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as one day.
We now place our current time over the next 7 years. You will notice I have applied day 4 twice. This is because two major events cover day 4 and I need to show the events separately. We now apply a brief description what God created within the 7-day timeline. We now look at what God did with Moses and Jesus, as this will be linked with what Trump might do over the next 7 years. It's interesting to see everything lines up perfectly. God covers 4 days, light, water, seed, and then rest. Then there is a silence for 400 years. Jesus then comes and covers 4 days and does what he sees his Father do. Light, water, seed, and rest. This is why we placed day 4 twice. Note what is done by Moses and Jesus. This matches what God did in the days of creation, and it's a wonderful thing to see. Now this is where things get really interesting. We now apply to our timeline the Jewish calendar of present day. 5784 to 5790. Donald Trump runs for presidency 2024, and in November it will be voted for who makes president. Donald Trump on the January 20, 2025, when he is sworn in as president. He will be 78 years 5 months and 5 days old. Jewish calendar year 2025 is 5785, which matches Trump's birth date. Back in 2017, when Trump was sworn in as president, he was 70 years 7 months and 7 days old. The Jewish calendar for that year was 5777. Matching again Donald Trump's birth date. This is no fluke. We believe this is a divine planning on God's part. We now look at John the Baptist. We take his birth date of the Jewish calendar 3755. Place the dates in the timeline and apply John's birth date to day 2 2025 to match with Trump's age when he is sworn in, bringing the two Elijahs together. Now we deduct John's birth date from Trump's and we are left with the number 2030. Doing this across all the days of the timeline leave us with 2030 every day. It is said by many that things are pointing to Jesus returning in the year 2030 to bring peace as he settles disputes between all nations. I believe God guided me to the truth, as this is what I asked of him. We now have to ask these questions. Do we see history repeating itself in our day? Moses was a great figure in Egypt, though he fled Egypt for 40 years and God brought him back. Trump was president. He has been gone 4 years, then God brings him back as president. Is this history repeating itself? Will God show himself to Trump and all the people in 2026? Moses did this day 3 on the timeline. Moses was instructed to build the tabernacle, a tent of meeting. Will God instruct Trump to start building the 3rd temple? The story in the Bible of the Transfiguration at the mountain was on the 6th day, where Jesus, Moses, and Elijah stood together. Will this happen on the timeline the 6th day, 6,000 years into creation? Will this be Jesus, Moses, and trump on the mount? A passage in the Bible, 1 Thessalonians in the King James Version.
For the Lord himself shall descend from heaven with a shout, with the voice of the archangel, and with the trump of God, and the dead in Christ shall rise first.
So we see the word trump in the Bible coming down with God. Will these things happen within this 7-year period? Well, we will soon know. So we are at the end of this presentation and hope you found it helpful. If anyone would like a copy of this PowerPoint presentation, email me. morse1162@gmail.com. Also check out my other video called God's Evidence of His Great Works. Thanks for watching and God bless.